Joining me now are MiWeek contributors Nolan Finley of the Detroit News, Stephen Henderson of the Detroit Free Press. Guys, heading into the 4th of July holiday. Woo!
Got your fireworks already?
You know what? Yeah.
What year, what anniversary is this for the country? What birthday?
Oh, isn't that awful?
Whatever year it is, it's a lot.
Wow, as you can tell, we're communications people. We are not math people, but happy birthday to the U.S.
It'll
All right.
be 240 next year, right?
We'll put you in charge of the celebration.
Something like that.
Okay, so we are in July now, so about 6 months into the year. So let's take a look. Where are we? What's the Michigan progress report? Are we talking about the right things that we need to talk about? Are we focusing on the right issues, or what's the big thing that is going to take up our conversation?
Let's talk about roads again.
No, we are not talking about roads.
That's something that's not done.
It just seems like there's been a lot of discussion this year about roads and schools and everything else, but we're nowhere near, I don't think, at mid-year solutions on any of the critical issues. That there's a bit of, I think, a feeling that we've stalled on some of our critical priorities here. Can't come to a consensus on how to move forward and what to do, you know, when we get there.
So what do you think are the critical priorities that we've stalled on?
Same one we've talked about.
Roads?
I mean, it gets to be boring, but it's roads and schools. And you say the governor's going to issue a plan. I'm not sure that plan's got much of a chance. It doesn't seem to have support.
For schools.
For schools. So,
yeah, it doesn't have much support either from Republicans, from Detroiters.
So one thing that I think could change the school calculus over the summer is what we're seeing with suburban districts now trying to put their budgets together for the next year. The legacy cost thing is not just a Detroit thing. It is driving everybody's budget a little haywire. And so you have Utica schools, for instance,
laying off teachers.
Yep.
Laying off 34 teachers, I think. And they may or may not have a population drop, but I don't think they have a population drop commensurate with that. What the problem is, there's not enough money to do all the things that school districts used to do. So
never going to be.
That's going to put a lot of pressure on legislators to really think about this Detroit thing. If the governor can say, we're going to do this for Detroit, and then we're also going to come up with a solution to help everybody else who's
that
got
might be a little bit more palatable.
It's more
Except the critical question about that is, okay, so you bond all that out and put it on the state, and the districts, their books are wiped clean of their debt. What stops them from going right back out and piling it up again, and who pays for that?
Well, I mean, I think that part of that deal has to be a change in the way that they deal with legacy issues.
You can no longer borrow money?
You know, there could be pay-as-you-go requirements. In other words, that you can't say we'll pay it down the road.
But for capital projects, for you know, building new schools, putting in new gymnasiums, putting in new pools.
Well, that's different than the legacy issues. I think you take the legacy issues away from
legacy bond debt in these districts.
It's not the bond debt that's driving the problem.
You're just talking about the pensions.
It's pensions and retiree health cares and these things that you project out, and they always end up costing you more down the road.
So the state would assume all that debt. I mean, the state already assumes the pension debt, and
have it anyway.
And the districts pay into it. Where do you get that money if you don't continue taking it out of the school aid fund?
You know, I also...
Well, that's a good question too, right? I don't know.
And I think we have a lot of these conversations about funding for schools, and obviously when you're spending a lot of money trying to pay down your legacy costs, and you can't spend it then in other areas. But I'd like to see us also advance the conversation in this next half of the year about what actually is happening in the classrooms. And I'm not just talking about Detroit schools and getting achievement up in there. I'm talking about statewide as well, in terms of reading levels, in terms of teacher training, in terms of, you know, they're dealing with the Common Core standards, and maybe not. There was just an article recently talking about getting the materials to be able to form their own curriculum. We have a lot of issues in the state of Michigan in terms of education. I feel that sometimes we get sucked into one area when we need to explore a little bit more of what's happening in the actual classrooms and how we're teaching our kids.
Well, we're not doing very well. For whatever reason, we're not doing very well. We're headed towards being a bottom 5 state in terms of the performance of our students. You know, we've always taken a lot of pride in Michigan here of being among the more progressive states, prosperous states. We're not anymore. I mean, we're headed towards amongst the most dysfunctional states in the country in terms of education. We're still up there in Lansing fighting about teacher evaluations, where states like Florida, Colorado, Tennessee, Massachusetts have put those in place years ago, and they're starting to pay dividends. And they didn't put them in place in a confrontational way. They worked out an agreement that everybody could live on. We're not able to do that here.
So I do want to get the new state superintendent on here, Brian West, and get him on the show in the next couple of months, so we can talk to him a little bit about that. What else? So roads and education. I know that's enough. That's enough on the plate.
I don't know that we're any closer this summer. The House put a fantasy plan in place and went home. They're on the beach. They're playing golf. I don't see us getting a roads agreement this summer. Do you?
No. I mean, I think the Senate will release a plan that I'm hearing will not look that different from what the House did, which won't be acceptable to the governor. So they'll have to come back and do it in the fall.
We are looking at the possibility that this could be a lost year in terms of dealing with our critical issues.
That's a shame. So how does Michigan then look to the rest of the country? How are we kind of shaping up these days?
I mean, I think if you're a business, if you're a family looking, to move somewhere or for opportunity, I don't think we rank that high. I think there are so many problems with the way we do things here, and they're not attractors to investment, either private investment in a business sense or in a family sense. I mean, people want government to do the job it's supposed to do. They want it to work and function, and I think we're in a place where it doesn't function very well at all.
When you talk about how do others think about it, how do they see us? I mean, there are bright spots, and who would have ever thought that Detroit would have been one of them? But Detroit's attracting a lot of investment from beyond this region. Yeah. A lot of out-of-state, a lot of international investors taking a look at Detroit. It's the first time that's happened. You look at Grand Rapids and what's happening over there. That's a functioning city. That is a very attractive city for young people, for families. It's really become the jewel of Michigan, and we don't talk about it a whole lot, but those are things that Michigan could build on.
Those are bright spots, but I mean, overall,
10 seconds
the
left.
Condition of our roads, I mean, if
you can't get to Grand Rapids, right?
You can't get to Grand Rapids. All right. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll keep tracking it, and that is going to do it for MiWeek. We're so glad that you've joined us. Have a wonderful 4th of July with your family and your friends.